All right, we are good on my side. Let me know
And
when you're good on your side, and we can get into it.
I don't know why it takes so long for YouTube. I think we're
Just,
live.
yeah, it's just YouTube. When I would stream to both, YouTube was always like way more delayed than Twitch was.
Yeah, we're
Okay,
live. Cool, yeah.
okay, great. Hello, everyone. LoremasterOfSotek here with, of course, the Great Book of Grudges, or Ryan and Nathan. It's been a while. We were sitting here doing the map, and it's been a hot minute, but we're finally back. Lorebeards is back in action. We're back on schedule. Last week was my fault, but that's okay. We're here now, and that's all that matters. So we're not going to waste any time. We're just going to hurl ourselves into it because there's a ton of stuff to get through, and we already just frankly are not going to have enough time to do everything we want to do. So real quick, we're just going to kind of do a brief catch up on anything kind of big and important that's happened since we've been gone. And I guess I'll kind of break the norm and do myself first here a little bit. But obviously, I was gone in Scotland for a hot bit. I had a wonderful time. For anyone curious, it was excellent. It was exhausting, but it was a really good time. I got to go to the set of the Chaos Rising movie and meet all of those guys, and it was a blast. I absolutely adore them. The Clan Ranald Scott or Trust of Scotland is fantastic, as is the Combat International team. And I'm super excited for when they're ready to show off part one. Getting to watch how that's filmed and everything was just a delight. And I got to see a lot of cool things and take some cool pictures that I can't show y'all yet because they're NDA'd, but one day soon. We'll be good to go. And then I also did an Age of Sigmar tournament, but we might talk about that at the end of the show. We might talk about some tabletop stuff. But Nathan, what have you been up to the last month?
Good. A lot. I've been trying to get some hobby stuff out of the way, but I've been kind of busy because a lot of local musicians are getting together to play a tribute concert to a former guitarist of all of ours, one of the biggest musical whores locally, because he played with practically every single band. He unfortunately passed away, so we're all getting together to just play and so on. So hobby and everything else has taken a bit of a sidestep, whilst I've been trying to learn a really loud set list, and someone's telling me that the audio is awful. 1 second. What seems to be the issue, guys?
I know that's such an unhelpful note.
Yeah,
It's awful. Well, how? How is it awful?
I might try and lower the settings a little bit. Maybe it's just peaking. Because I've been having a few issues with Streamlabs. It's loud and distorted and your face is black and white. Well, everyone else is saying it's fine. My face is black and white because lighting has become a bit of an issue. I'm redoing the room for some certain things for the battle reports, so that's why lighting at the moment is not great. Plus the sun's going down.
Yeah. Well, okay. So it sounds like most people in the chat are saying it's fine. So good.
Yeah.
Yeah. We might have various technical difficulties because obviously we haven't done this in a hot minute. So everything's like dusted, like covered in dust and everything. But well, that's good. I'm glad y'all are doing that to commemorate that individual. Sorry he passed away, but I'm sure he would be pleased to know that everyone's inspired to get together and do the thing he loved doing so much in his honor.
Oh, he's definitely laughing
awesome.
at me. I'm being forced to play U2 songs. I hate U2.
the things we do for the people we care about. All right, so we'll kind of focus more on hobby related stuff probably in next week's episode. But like I said, there's a lot to go through, so we're gonna go ahead and skip to going over Tales of Two Gamer stuff for today, which. Also today we're going to kind of be cutting that a little shorter than normal because we had a lot of people posting on our Discords in the various Discord communities with pictures for that, but getting all those, we have to like extract them and then post them in a different chat so we can look at them on stream, which is just kind of a bit time consuming, and time is the one thing we're both rather short on today. So we're going to go ahead and postpone those to next week but we are going to go ahead and look at everyone that's been posting on Twitter. So we're going to switch over to Twitter now, and go ahead and take a look at anyone who's used the Lorebeards hashtag on Twitter since the last time we had an episode, which was a while ago. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into it. And I'm going to make sure I refresh my page just in case there's any last second people getting in. But the first one we've got up is Baron Lord's Great Unclean One. Oh, he's got two different Great Unclean Ones. He's got Rodigus the Rainfather, and then he's got a classic variant.
Yeah,
and those are some shiny, slimy Great Unclean Ones.
He's a regular on my Discord, and I think he only recently started his Nurgle army, because I know he posted some Nurglings yesterday, too.
Well, it sounds like he's making excellent speed, and getting big models like these done, if he's only recently started, especially, he is doing fantastic. The thing that I immediately noticed is how clean, this weird sentence, but how clean all the boils are, and that none of the paint is wandered onto the skin. It's just a really nice job of the bruising on the flesh, and everything is so wet looking. Ugh,
it is
so
very
nasty,
good,
dude.
I think I know the brand, because he's got I think that's the mud texture he's got on the side where Rodigus is, because I've got the same type of pots.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It looks good. It looks slimy and disgusting and unappetizing, which is everything Nurgle should be. So, to Baron, I say, excellent job. Oh, yes, it should be by latest. Thank you.
Yeah.
Then, for our next post, we've got my most recently painted model, which I actually finished this in a single setting. A single sitting. There we go. So, because I got home from Scotland and I had 3 days to get ready for an Age of Sigmar tournament, where I had to have a fully painted army. So, I had about 39 models I needed to paint, one of which was Lady Olynder. So, I literally sat down, and in a single day, I finished her, and I'm pretty happy with how she turned out. I think the only thing that bothers me about this model, and it doesn't bother me enough to really do anything about it, I just like pointing it out for learning purposes, is that I don't know what I did when I primed her model, but the primer, you can see how she's a little fuzzy looking.
Are you using GW primer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which maybe that's the issue, is I need to switch to a better quality primer. Because most of my models look fine, they're totally sleek with how they were primed. But for some reason, she came out there's little extra particles, and they're, to be fair, they're only noticeable if you're really, really close to the model. I live by the 6-foot rule, so I honestly don't care. I only noticed because it's noticeable in these pictures. But I'm pleased with how she turned out. The nice thing about Night Haunt, I will say, is that if you want to paint Night Haunts fast, just use copious amounts of Lamian Medium. Lamian Medium is your best friend. Just take Nitric Oxide and Night Haunt Gloom and just water it down insanely much. I would literally do 1 part nitric oxide, and I think 3 parts Lamian Medium, or 1 part Night Haunt Gloom and 4 parts Lamian Medium, and that made painting all the ghostly bits way easier. And then you just dry brush with Ulthuan Grey, and it looks great. As far as I'm concerned.
She looks great, honestly. I love the because you did 2 different hair colors for the ghost in the back. That looks nice too.
Yeah, they turned out a tiny bit different. I wanted them to be distinguishable, her handmaidens, but yeah, and they Olynder performed exceptionally well for me at the tournament, so that was lovely. Okay, so chat's saying there was too much moisture in the air when I primed. Well, that would make sense. It gets humid here a lot. But all right, next up, Florian Narradio has sent us his Sloppity Bilepiper, which is an absolutely delightful model.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we probably won't see it in Total War because it's considered an AOS demon, but maybe in the future. But it really is just a delightful model. Like it's a great example of like Nurgle's more festive side while still being like horribly disgusting, where you just have this guy playing on a bagpipes that are made out of human bits. Which after being in Scotland is like twice as horrifying than it normally would be. But it looks great. Like interesting. It's interesting that he goes with a yellow rimmed base. Like it almost kind of makes the whole thing look sicklier than it normally would.
Yeah, it's very out there.
Yeah, like it looks good. It brings out the yellow spots on the model a lot more than they normally would be if it was like black rimmed or if you wanted to be like truly classic, go back to like goblin green rim bases like we did in early fantasy.
I still do. I got my hands on a ratio to mix moot green with another color, and it comes out almost close.
Man, I switched fully to Team Chaos Black after I think I want to say it was in 7th edition. Like I think after. Yeah, I think 6th edition I still did green, but I think in 7th I transitioned to black. But in fairness, that's when I started doing like lava themed lizardmen. So like the green just looked really bad.
Yeah,
like it looked really weird to have like lava and like cracked, dark earth with reds and yellows and oranges, and then you like a green edge just would not look good with that. Like it would look super bad. But yeah, the Sloppity Bilepiper looks really good. I think the biggest thing is I would say is it looks like you're really on the cusp, Florian, of like doing really good. I don't know what paint you're using, but it looks really, really good on the skin and the bones. I'm assuming it might be contrast paints, to be honest, or something similar. Like but the thing I might recommend looking into trying is you might, if you're ready for it, pick up a shade to throw on those brasses to dirty them up a little bit. But it's looking really, really good. Like maybe like an Agrax Earth Shade or a Nuln Oil. Which are kind of like the two holy grails in most metallic scenarios, but it looks solid. And then we've got Nathan. You want to tell us about your little friend here?
All right, so that's one of the models I'm showing off. I've got a tournament in January, and I was thinking of taking an Averland army, so I was testing out a paint scheme. It's very basic. It's just kind of like a bit of a test for all contrasts too. For a cannon crew, because like if you're gonna go Empire, you're gonna take a few bits of artillery. So I was just kind of just mucking around, just wanted to like show off that the yellow contrast is actually really good.
Yeah, it looks incredible.
Whereas, and like even the mustache is okay. I'm not too keen on the black contrast because it doesn't feel like a contrast paint. But everything else, I'm quite happy about it. It's one of these armies where I'm considering for the whole, do I take this, do I not type of thing. So I was like, I'll just put it out there.
Yeah, it looks fantastic though. Like, man, that yellow turned out really good. Like, it settled beautifully in the recesses.
Oh yeah, it's one of my best. I've actually started painting some Imperial Fists with the same yellow. It's just that good.
Damn. Yeah, that turned out fantastically. I can't wait to see. I hope you take pictures, the full armies and stuff.
Yeah, I'm going to be posting some updates soon.
All right, next up we got Rowan the Accused with his Nipponese soldiers. So he's running a Nippon themed army, and here we've got, that has to be a free-handed banner, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. But like the models also look. Rowan always puts up really good stuff. Oh, look, he free-handed the script on their clothing as well.
Oh yeah.
Man, that looks good.
This was based. Is this based on WAP then? Yeah, because this is Warhammer Armies Project, isn't it?
I would have to assume so, if he's running like with rules.
Well, there's a lot of different like fan made editions and so on. Yeah, no, he's just confirmed. Yeah, it's WAP. Yeah, I mean it's a great like Warhammer Armies Projects is so fun to play.
Well, yeah, and the nice thing about the Warhammer Armies Project, for anyone that ever looks into that, is not only does it vastly expand the amount of playable armies, but because he's done like every army, including the old playable armies, you're working on a more consistent base. It's not like he just made new armies and then you're just supposed to play with like 8th edition stuff. It's kind of like its own separate fan edition. So I don't know if I would go so far as to say like it's fully balanced, but you're at least like everyone's on the same page.
Yeah.
Which makes for a better play experience.
Definitely.
But they look fantastic. Absolutely beautiful. Oh, and then we've got another post from Nathan. We've got some Slaanesh boys.
Yeah, not my best picture, but obviously that's the striker model, but I've kind of made him fit with the theme of the gold and the pink instead. Mainly because I own, for some reason, 4 of him. I don't know why.
Hey, when you own a piece of perfection, the thing you just want is more, right?
Yeah. So I'm using him as a Chaos Lord sword and board because, kind of works well. And, just the basic. He's gone with the same theme. So black leather, pink garbs, and obviously gold on the armor pieces. Whereas in the actual miniature, he's supposed to be kind of purple and black. So I've got another one with the helmet, which I'm going to do in the traditional colors. But he fits well with my current Slaanesh, and I was like, I need a basic character to have there as someone,
Yeah, that definitely helps. Well, like, yeah, you want like good standout characters, and it's a really striking Slaanesh model. That was not a pun, or that was not an intended pun. But what do you use for your snow?
Snow, I've got the GW Snow. I've got some other stuff arriving soon for the rest of the bases, because what I wanted to do is use some ice stuff on the side next to the snow, but the problem is getting anything delivered at this point was just incredibly difficult. So I'm like, I'll half-ass the base and then go and finish it up when the stuff actually arrives. But it's just, at the moment, it's just the snow. Valhalla Blizzard, I think it is.
I need to pick some of that up. I didn't realize it. Like, it actually looks pretty nice.
Yeah, it's not bad. And then obviously just being very generous with blood for the blood god, because, I mean, if they're not doing damage.
Yeah, I'm thinking of adding some snow onto some of my night haunts to just add a little bit more, because it would be like a really nice contrast, because I use like really dark Sterling mud for the majority of the base. So it could be just kind of like a nice contrast on some of the little bits and pieces to have it like, oh, winter's been fading, but night haunts come in, they freeze everything, it's spooky and all that crap. But it looks good, man.
Thank you.
Next, we got 2 posts from Prince Baron the Super Ego, and the first one we're going to be looking at is his Durthu. Oh, Durthu, nice. You're so pretty. And I really like how that sword turned out. It's an interesting color scheme. I'm not used to seeing Durthu painted with like more like I guess I am used to seeing him with vibrant neon colors, but it's normally like orange and red and stuff, not pink and purple. Kind of more almost Slaanesh-y colors. Someone in chat called him Malevolent Durthu, which is kind of funny. It does almost kind of line up with the color scheme Creative Assembly's been using for their Malevolent forest spirits in Total War Warhammer 2. But it looks fantastic. And the basing turned out super nice. That grass looks great.
It gives me like cherry blossom feels with just the pink and the purple.
Yeah, it does feel. Yeah, it's almost kind of. Yeah, you have a good point. It's almost kind of more similar to the colors Alariel has for her forest spirits, but the wood parts are darker.
Yeah.
It looks great, man. I think, man, it looks like he literally just free-handed the blending for the without any Lamy and medium or anything, which is super hard, but he actually did a pretty nice job of it.
That is really cool.
Looks great, man. Looks great. And then he got another piece from him, which is a Glade Lord on a Forest Dragon. And this looks like he's using a different texture of paint on this model than he was on the Durthu model. because this one has a more glossy appearance. But this is a really cool mini. Does he say who it's from? Reaper Bones 5, Elf and Dragon.
Oh.
It's a nice mini. I always like seeing like the different interpretations of dragons especially from like other studios, because like obviously Games Workshop, they even kind of made a post about it not too long ago on their community Discord or their community website about how Games Workshop dragons all kind of were just like serpentine for like the longest time. They were all those big S dragons. But it looks great. Like it's a very fitting model. The color scheme looks wonderful. I really like the purples that are on like the wingtips and the spine tips, and it's kind of cool seeing like it's always I find it refreshing when you have someone that's not just like a stereotypical dragon and rider, but here like you almost have like a dragon working with an elf as opposed to just the traditional mounted scenario.
It's a very lovely mini, honestly. I really like that.
I always crack up when I see this kind of dragon design that's got that underbelly, which you can really see on the first image, because I know it's supposed to be like the almost more fleshy part of the body where there's like larger scales, but I always think that they're like muscles, so it's like a 32 pack or something. It was just always cracked me up, like just the idea of like a dragon with super abs for some reason. But especially because I think it extends like all the way down the tail and stuff. Next up, we've got Danavir, who made a oh god, I forget what this exact model is, but he's playing it as Balthus Aram. So he's playing this as Balthazar Gelt after he's been reforged in Age of Sigmar. And it definitely does strike a lot of that similar image. He actually has a very similar pose to the original Gelt model. But he looks fantastic. Lots and lots of metallics. Looks super nice. I really like the color scheme he went with kind of like the ash gray on the I think the thing's called a Griff Charger.
I think so, yeah.
I know the Griff Charger is the regular version. I don't remember if the character version is a Griff Charger as well. But it turned out very, very nice. Like I love red, black, and gold. I think red, black, and gold are like the ultimate complementing colors. And gray fits in with them very, very nicely. It's a Lord Arcanum on a Griff Charger. Okay, there we go.
That's really cool.
But it works perfect for Balthazar Gelt. I'm still salty that when they released second edition, they released a special character, Aventus Firestrike, which was so dumb. I feel like Aventus should have just been Balthus, because they've never used Aventus ever since then. Like, he's never shown up in any stories. He doesn't have any like expanded lore. He doesn't have any Black Library books. They just released his model and he never appeared ever again. And he's literally a Wizard Lord character that rides on a flying goat monster, which is kind of similar to a Pegasus. And it's like, why didn't they just, like, if you're going to make a Black Library book about Balthus Aram, why would you not just make him playable and, like, reap in that free fandom from having Gelt return? But I don't know. Whatever, I don't work at GW, so what do I know? And then the last model we'll be looking at today, because once again, we will be going over all the Discord minis next time, because there's a lot of them, so we will have a much longer Tale of Two Gamers segment next week. But the last mini we'll be looking at today before we move on is Jay Phoenix's Jor Mormont and Master Aemon from
Game of Thrones.
Yes, Game of Thrones.
Well, Song of Fire and Ice.
They look absolutely spectacular.
I love these minis so much. I've been seriously considering collecting some of the Song of Fire and Ice ones, man, because they are just so cool looking. Like, and this makes me want to buy them more, especially now that I'm thinking about New Year, New Army. I'm like, oh man, these are so tempting because they're such cool minis, man.
They are. Also, he did just an immaculate, like, he did a super clean paint job. like looking at all the buttons and the highlights on like the robes and the armor and stuff, there is no paint where it's not supposed to be. And like the face looks like it's literally ripped out of a comic panel, like the art style. But it's super clean. It's even like got a shadow on it. And look at the basing, dude. He's got like a water feature there.
The basing is just gorgeous.
The basing really is cool. Incredibly gorgeous. But like even looking at I think it's Master Aemon, like all the little gems hanging from his neck and like the book and everything. Like, dude, this guy really Jay Phoenix knows how to edge highlight.
Yeah,
really, really well.
They are so cool, honestly. They are really, really cool. I love these minis, especially like because there's so many different factions that you can play with these things too. And doing anything like associated with, like, say for example, like Night's Watch is kind of hard because it's a lot of black. You know? So
yeah. And black is not the best behaving of, like, black and white are both very difficult colors to work with. In large doses. Like they're fine as like highlights or whatever, or like bases, but the second like you start having to add other colors into the mix, man, they're just very unforgiving of mistakes. But yeah, so that's gonna be it for the minis. We're not gonna like set a specific thing for next week because we're just gonna be going over Discord models. So if you have any minis that you want to submit, or you finish any minis before then, feel free to just add them onto our Discord channels. We're not even going to go to Twitter next week unless like there's some random person that just puts one post on there. So me and Nathan's Discord both have an area where you can submit minis for those. So be sure to check those out. So now let's kind of go ahead and hurl ourselves into kind of the more main parts of the show. Which first thing up is, of course, who would win? And I actually had a matchup brought up when I was streaming, I believe yesterday morning, that I thought would be kind of a fun one. So today, we're going to go over Skarbrand the Exiled One, who of course is returning in Total War Warhammer 3, looking spectacular, and I believe his Legendary Lord Mechanics blog will be releasing tomorrow, according to the Discord for Total War Warhammer. Or for Creative Assembly's Discord. And then we are also going to have him facing off against Kolek Sun Eater, the mightiest of the Dragon Ogre Shaggoths that is awake and still alive. So just as a quick refresher for anyone that maybe isn't as familiar with these particular characters, is that Kolek Sun Eater, of course, is a colossal titan of a monster. He is huge. He's specifically noted as during the Siege of Prague, his head was visible above the wall. So it was literally that scene from the first episode of Attack on Titan, though the walls of Prague are not quite that large. But he is a Mamothian, if that's a word. I don't know if that's a word. Individual that he's a big boy. And of course he has a hammer that's nearly as large as he is, that's known as oh god, what is that? It's Star Crusher. And Star Crusher is a big old giant terrifying hammer that was literally forged in, I believe, the heart of a volcano, if memory serves, and I believe it's made from meteoric metal as well, which generally in Warhammer Fantasy, when you're dealing with physical materials, anything that's like meteoric or came from space is going to be like god tier, because that's what like Gromrel is, for instance. Gromrel is metal that has come from somewhere else. It's space metal. But so for Kolek, we're dealing with an individual who is absolutely massive, and his hammer is noted to hit with just like earth-shaking force, and that if he strikes somebody, it's really brutal. Like, there is no armor in existence that's going to protect you from that. Just not. And when you get struck by it, you're probably just a pancake rather instantly. You have to be a fairly large and like hefty creature in and of yourself to be able to take a hit from that. And the thing about Kolek is that he's a very, very skilled fighter. Unlike a lot of large monstrous creatures, which a lot of monstrous creatures tend to, usually not fight with weapons, or if they do, they're more about just like big broad swings, not necessarily about like skill in battle. Kolek is a skilled fighter. Like, not only is he very surprisingly able to just unleash a barrage of attacks with his hammer. Like, obviously, it takes him a little bit to get up and get going. He's not the fastest of fighters, but once he starts swinging, it is a avalanche of blows before he needs to start winding up again. And he's very tough. He's covered from toe to tip in some surprisingly durable armor that I believe is all made from brass, because it helps conduct the electricity from the storms that are always gathered around him. And as part of that, he also has the ability to shoot lightning at people, because literally when the lightning strikes him, not only can it heal him a little bit and empower him, the biggest thing is that it makes him angrier and buffs him up a bit, but he can also redirect that lightning to just literally throw it at you. Which is kind of terrifying, and it can obviously be a very nasty surprise to get struck by a lightning bolt when you think you're already just dealing with a dragon ogre, Shaggoth. Then on the other side of the equation, we have Skarbrand the Exiled, who of course is the angriest of angry boys in all of Warhammer Fantasy. He is literally an individual that used to be Khorne's second in command. He was his right hand, but Tzeentch got into his head and started whispering all sorts of treacherous thoughts, and it finally made Skarbrand lose it, and he tried to backstab Khorne, which scratched Khorne's armor, despite the fact it was everything Skarbrand could throw at him. But hey, scratching the armor of a god is like, that's kind of terrifying. And Khorne got super upsetty spaghetti about it, picked him up, choked all the personality out of him except for his rage and anger, and then hurled him like a meteor through into like space. And when he eventually landed, his wings were completely destroyed, but he was basically the Rage Incarnate, or the Avatar of Wrath at that point. The big thing about Skarbrand that's worth noting is he, of course, has his twin axes. I think it's Slaughter and Carnage,
Yes.
which are two other very powerful greater demons that Skarbrand defeated and he enslaved to be his axes. So when you're fighting Skarbrand, you're technically fighting three greater demons at the same time. Just one's using two others as melee weapons. And they are these horrifying flaming weapons that basically chop through armor as if it's butter. They just melt through it. He does not give a crap if you have armor. And the thing about Skarbrand is incredibly dangerous in a fight. He is the ultimate berserker in Warhammer Fantasy, in that he will just come at you. He's very quick, and he could just start unleashing just a hilarious amount of strikes, just rapidly. And he hits incredibly hard. And the thing about Skarbrand that makes him particularly dangerous is, on his own, at absolute base level, he is one of the mightiest greater demons when it comes to just unleashing pure damage in combat. But the more damage Skarbrand takes before he's killed, the stronger he gets. Like, he is literally just, the closer to death he gets before he actually dies, the more powerful he becomes. And he hits harder and harder and harder. Obviously, being a demon, he does have the ability, if he's fortunate, to kind of like vaguely phase through reality, which can cause blows to sort of miss him or not connect, which is worth noting. And he is fairly durable in his own right. You know, he has some armor. It's not going to really matter against Kolek. Both of their armors are not going to play into this fight at all, because both their weapons are just going to cut through it. But he does have, you know, he's a big boy himself. Obviously, he's not nearly as large as Kolek, but he is he's easily just as, like, dangerous. But in any event, that is going to be it for the intro. So, Nathan, what are your thoughts?
Just a second, I'm getting the poll up, because
I forgot about that.
It's sometimes YouTube is really slow for it. And that should be live. Yeah, there we go. So, I don't know, man. Given the two, it's a really it's a big matchup. Like, it is a big matchup. Skarbrand is an absolute powerhouse when it comes to doing damage, and so is obviously Kolek. Both of them are well known for just causing carnage. Obviously, Kolek is known for like knocking down the wall at Prague. Skarbrand is known for just pretty much just showing up and fucking shit up. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be really, really tough. Maybe, if anything, it'd have to be Skarbrand. Mainly because it's a greater demon fighting with extra power from 2 extra greater demons. But it's still very difficult to say, considering, because obviously Kolek is ancient, right? Like, he has been here for a long, long time. A lot of people don't really know, but the dragon ogres have been around longer than before the old ones arrived. So it's, I don't know, man. It is a toughie. It is a real toughie. I'd say out of pure like anger and just having an extra oomph, I'll go with Skarbrand, given the fact it's just, it's a bloodthirster with 2 extra bloodthirsters essentially. Like, it is the power up, isn't it?
Yeah, and the other thing we should the one thing I forgot to mention about Skarbrand, which does add a little bit more to him, that I forgot to mention, is that Skarbrand is literally so angry that when he yells at someone, it kills them. Like, he's so mad that when he roars in anger, his bellow of rage can, like, it probably is gonna like be showcased in Total War as him like breathing fire or something. But it's not fire. It's literally just that he's yelling so angrily, it literally is like ripping apart reality a little bit. And just yeah, bad time. I imagine being killed by someone because they're just raging at you that hard from like a distance. They're just killing you with bad vibes. But I of course am gonna pick the contrarian perspective. That's what I like doing on this show. I do think Skarbrand, like Nathan said, does stand an excellent chance, and it's also worth noting that frankly, Skarbrand's like a better fighter than Kolek by like a good margin. Like, Skarbrand is literally peak, like, when it comes to landing hits and being extremely fast and deft and skilled with his axes, despite the fact he's a horrifying rage monster. He, like, he is horrifyingly skilled. He's not a berserker in the sense that he just, like, flings his axes and doesn't care, like, isn't paying attention or isn't, like, aware. Like, he is one of the most skilled fighters in all of Warhammer Fantasy. He just has all of that rage adding to the amount of, like, just the fury and the momentum that he's putting behind his axes. And it is like, it's, I think, completely feasible that he would be able to chop down Kolek like a big old tree. However, I will say that Skarbrand Kolek is enough of an excellent fighter in his own right that he would be able to turn aside a lot of those blows using Star Crusher. And while I don't think Skarbrand's Bellow of Rage would really do anything to Kolek, just like I really don't think Kolek throwing a lightning bolt at Skarbrand is going to do anything to him, the big thing for me comes down to Star Crusher, which is that Kolek Suneater would have to endure basically Skarbrand throwing everything he has at him for a minute before he'd really have a chance to go all in on him. But once Kolek swung, I honestly think Skarbrand is just instantly dead. Because the Star Crusher hits so hard between just its sheer mass and the amount of strength Kolek can put behind it, plus the magical properties of the hammer itself, where it's just like bursting with lightning and everything, that if Skarbrand gets hit, there ain't gonna be no like, I've taken damage and now I'm gonna power up. I think he's just he's just gone. So I think it comes down to that race of can Skarbrand chop down Kolek with his like just avalanche of frenzied blows before Kolek is to swing back. Because it is worth noting that kind of a downside to Skarbrand when it comes to a melee battle is that Skarbrand's aura of rage is infectious. So it affects both him and his enemies. So like Skarbrand actually makes his enemies more dangerous if they are someone that does not rely purely on finesse or like range or magic. So that is worth taking into account. But I think that's a good breakdown of that particular situation. Like neither of them could fly. They're not particularly complex fighters. I wouldn't call any of them strategic. I wouldn't call either of them strategic geniuses.
That's all. That's all.
They're just kind of just run in there and smash. So I think that's gonna be good for that.
Yeah.
What'd your poll come out as?
75% for Skarbrand. People are very into the demon, I must say.
Wow, we had 55% in favor of Kolek over on Twitch. So a nice split. Chat's disagreeing, which is perfect. Remember, hate each other. You're in tribes.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be it for this episode of Who Would Win. So let's go ahead and carry on to all the crazy stuff that's been going on. So since we last talked, a lot has happened.
A lot.
With Total War Warhammer, which is what we're jumping to next. Thankfully, a lot of it surrounds a fairly concentrated point. So, like, we're not going to be as drowned as we could be, but, like, to say that I think me and Nathan, or I assume Nathan would agree with this, but feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. It's been a little stressful, just like the sheer amount that Creative Assembly has been throwing at us. This week was like basically a mental vacation because we probably didn't have like a billion things to cover. But so since our last episode, we've had Ogre Kingdoms, Nurgle fully revealed, and of course Slaanesh revealed.
And a lot of Slaanesh revealed.
Yeah, so let's tackle those kind of one at a time in order, and get our thoughts at it. So of course the Ogre Kingdoms. A lot of people were very, I think, pleasantly surprised with how the Ogre Kingdom reveal came out. They basically took the Norska trailer and combined it with the Vampire Coast trailer, and were like, boom, CGI musical. There you go. And it's an excellent kind of trailer. And then, of course, thankfully, we didn't have to wait long at all to just get all the Ogre information. It was literally, like, I think less than a week, which was refreshing. Instead of it being, look, we've announced Ogres, now we'll show you Ogres very soon. But what were your thoughts on the Ogre Kingdoms as far as, like, mechanics and roster and stuff like that?
So, generally with the Ogres, I was quite happy. Like, we've got two great legendary lords, because obviously Greasus is, like, a really well-known guy. Skrarg, I'm a big fan of his lore, so I was like, okay, this could work really, really well. Because it's quite grim for Ogre lore. Like, most Ogre lore is kind of jokey, isn't it, and stuff. And it's got a little bit of a dark side, but never goes Skrarg dark, So I was quite happy. A little disappointed that we don't have the complete roster, but I'm assuming that's DLC for the future, because Yetis and all that,
it's literally the perfect amount for a Lord pack.
Exactly.
Like, there's like a very noticeable gap there.
Exactly. But other than that, like, I must say I'm quite happy, because, anything that anyone who played with Ogres or played against Ogres would have seen, so Iron Guts, they were cool. Mournfang were terrifying on the battlefield, especially if you played Hordes. The Stonehorn is just really impressive. I love that we got Rhinoxes at the very beginning.
Yeah, Rhinox Riders was a very pleasant surprise.
Yeah, like I did not expect that.
In DLC.
I honestly thought we were never going to get it, so I was like, oh, well, modders can do it, and then, oh yeah, look, we got Crushers. It's like, wow.
Yeah, that was a super pleasant surprise. I agree. I was not expecting Rhinox Riders.
Yeah, especially, like, I think, like, the roster is going to be really fun. We've obviously seen gameplay and so on, because obviously Creative Assembly staff member recorded some battles and sent it to us and so on. And I thought it was cool to see that. Like, the Noblar Trappers seem fun. I was actually thinking like I was going to ignore Noblars, like the moment we get our hands on it, we just ignore Noblars. But now that we've seen them, I'm surprised. I was like, oh wow, they're going to be useful.
They did a very good job with the trappers. Like because I figured they would be nice with maybe having some kind of like debuff if someone got close. But their debuff is so good because like not only is it a speed nuke, but it also deals like pretty okay damage.
Yeah,
and they are a vanguard stealth unit. So like you won't even see them until you're already on top of them and you get triggered, and then they have throwing knives as a shooting unit. So like they cover a lot of bases.
Yeah.
Like I honestly think like especially for multiplayer, they're probably going to be a very popular unit because they're going to be really solid for just like deleting lightly armored, fast moving troops. Like if someone's got like a unit of pistoliers or like dark riders or something, Noblard trappers feel like they're just like a whole super hard counter to that. And because like anything that stealths and is also a trap, like the unit itself is a trap, which is just great. I pretty much agree with everything you said. I would have liked, to see the full roster. That being said, I do feel like they got all of the things that you actually saw on tabletop in the base roster.
Yeah.
Like the Thunder Tusk and Yetis are really, really cool, but I feel like the Yetis basically need to be redesigned. Like I think the old Yetis will not translate well into a 3D space, so they're going to have to change how they look a bit. And the Thunder Tusk was very gimmicky. It's incredible in like well, even in Age of Sigmar, it's kind of a gimmick. It was really good in first edition, but in second edition, it's kind of a gimmick. But or third edition. But I do think we'll see an Ogre Lord pack. It'll probably be led by either Goldfag or the other guy that rides the metal Rhinox.
Gark.
Gark Ironskin. But I am really impressed. When I saw that it was 2 legendary lords, I did kind of have a brief heart attack that it was going to be a Norska-sized DLC.
Yeah.
But when I finally got to see the actual roster, I was much happier.
Yeah.
Also, their settlements look incredible. Like I'm glad they don't have walls. I don't think ogres make sense with walls at all. But the new there's so much we haven't talked about. But like the new city designs, where like it's these winding cities with like bridges and second stories and elevation look so fun. And the battles we were provided from CA, we got of course to see an ogre. I think it's a major settlement.
Minor.
Or minor settlement, minor settlement of the ogres, but it looks incredible.
Yeah.
And the ogres just look like a blast. Like the entire army has wall breaker. So they're just like, oh, you have walls? Nobody cares. So probably a good thing that walls are really not like the main focus of sieges, because ogres would literally just crap all over that. But I love the way they look. I think Scrag's redesign was brilliant.
He looks scary.
They made him so much scarier looking than he, because in tabletop he wasn't particularly scary. Like he was kind of gross, but in this they kind of noted that they kind of took a lot of inspiration from Gollum. To they like the way they redesigned his facial design and his head, because like he's got like this. There's something very bizarre about the way his scalp looks, and that like his gums are showing. Like his lips have peeled away to show his gums and his teeth, and he looks disgusting. Like in a really good way. Also, I know it's not the most popular opinion, but I'm personally pretty happy with how Greasus turned out visually. I know a lot of people wanted the Noblar carpet, but that is that just seems like a nightmare of design for a singular individual.
The thing is, I would have been cool if it wasn't the case, because I am a bit disappointed with that. It's because obviously then we have Korgoth with a palanquin, and it's like...
But that can be recycled, because the palanquin is like a generic mount for Nurgle.
Yeah, but I think it's only just for like... if I recall, the Great Unclean Ones can't use it, can they?
No, it's resized for the heroes. But like the Nurglings holding up the palanquin, which is the most complex part of the model, like that's already there.
Yeah.
The assets. Like if you did, and the thing is, I will say that Greasus's cart I know a lot of people are like, oh, why is it so hideous? But to me, it actually makes sense that it looks the way it does, because you have to remember that in Ogre Society, ogres don't build. The only thing that builds in Ogre Society are the Noblars. So the Noblars had to make the cart. It's a Noblar cart for Greasus. And when you compare it to like the Scrap Launcher or the Iron Blaster, it's the same design type as the other models. So like some people I think expected like a much more like gregarious or like just amazing looking cart. But I think the weird thing, like, it would have been weird if the cart was too nice looking, because it would have stood out too much in the army. Like, I honestly think it looks a lot better with its current. I should rephrase. It's not that it looks better. I think it makes more. It's more integral to the Ogre Kingdoms.
1 second. I think
design.
I can hear my door. Just 1 sec. Carry on.
Sure.
Though.
I'll just ramble while you're gone. So, and I'm just kind of like throwing that opinion out there because I've heard a lot of people being like, like it's super dumb looking. Why wouldn't Greasus have like a perfect sled that's made out of glittering gold with diamonds and jewels and all these things? But instead, it literally looks like like Noblars were told, you need to make a cart that can carry Greasus, and they were like, oh, and so they ramshackled something together, and then Greasus was like, you gotta pimp that up. And so they just literally, when you look at the cart, there's all these like random gems and gold plates and all this extra stuff added, and then Greasus of course has all his riches piled up behind him that he lays on like a couch to prop himself up, because he can't be bothered to use pillows. No, it can't be soft. Greasus has got plenty of padding because he's fat. It's got to be style. He's got to be propped up on like chests full of gold and gems and like really expensive pottery and all sorts of weird crap. So I think I think they did a good job with it. Though I will say I am disappointed that we haven't gotten to see his combat animations yet.
Yeah.
Like, they have shown Greasus in game, but it's literally just him doing this weird laugh animation he does. Like, if you go watch the Into the World of the Ogres trailer, it's basically, they show him twice, and he's doing the same animation both times of him just laughing, which is like, it's fine, but it's like, come on, show me, I want to see him hit something with the stupid scepter or the turkey stick. Dude, I hope he better have an animation where he kills someone with a turkey drum. That would be great. But, so yeah, ogres are looking great. I'm honestly having a really hard time not picking them as my first, for Greasus particularly. I love the idea that he increases the mass of his army, which is hilarious. That's a really goofy but powerful ability.
Yeah.
And also, ogre mechanics look great.
Oh yeah, like the whole thing about building a settlement is insane.
Yeah, so for anyone that's kind of missed out, they are a horde that also takes settlements, but their horde can camp in friendly territory to like buff up their own stuff and like they can have synergistic abilities between the camp and the settlement, or they can camp in enemy areas. And then they're just like raiding you constantly and stealing all your shit, while also hitting you with like all these nasty abilities, while being encamped. So we are thankfully truly in the age of. Also, it's worth noting with the ogres and Cathay, we got to see that hordes are officially dead. There are no more true hordes in Warhammer Fantasy, because Warriors of Chaos can now take settlements in Warhammer 3. Obviously, they're not playable yet, and we haven't seen what it's going to look like, but we know that the Warriors of Chaos can take cities now. So hordes are dead. Long live the horde. They're gone.
You see, I hope that we do get like a horde mechanic, like a proper horde. They're trying their best to avoid hordes, because obviously hordes have issues, and they've always had in Total War. I feel like they kind of fixed a lot of those issues in the past, though, when we look towards the Amazon DLC in Troy, which could have probably helped the Warhammer series a lot.
I haven't played that yet, so I don't know.
Oh, you should. It's great. It fixes so many issues. It's insane.
That's interesting. Because someone in chat mentioned Nakai. Nakai's not a true horde though. Like he still like creates like friendly territory that he can hide in and like heal and do a bunch of other stuff, which hordes don't have. Though Nakai definitely needs some tweaking.
Yeah.
I would not use him. He's not good. He's kind of there. But the ogres look great. Their tech tree looks fun. Their mechanics look fun, especially their whole thing about like the way you build up their battle meter, which it seems like a lot of the races have battle meters in Warhammer 3. So like what I'm saying by that is like a lot of races, instead of just army abilities, they now have a meter where you have a selection of army abilities that you fill up the meter and it lets you activate them. And it seems that the vast majority of the Total War Warhammer 3 races will have access to this as a mechanic. And for the ogres, theirs is filled by chasing down fleeing enemies. So if you break an enemy in combat, you can take captives by immediately pursuing after them and beating them up and stuff, or using saber tusks to run them down or whatever. And the more captives you build up, you unlock abilities you can activate to buff your ogres throughout the game. Or the battle, which looks great. Like, it's fun. And also for an army that has lots of fear and terror, because literally everything in the army except the Noblars causes fear, and terror is all over the place, it looks really, really good. So ogres look great. Awesome. So Nurgle. Nurgle is the next one. We just finished Nurgle week. Not this past week, but the one before that. I am so pleased with Nurgle. I am immensely pleased with Nurgle. I'm gonna be honest. I was really worried we weren't getting Kugoth for a while. I know a lot of people like. I felt in my heart of hearts we were gonna get Kugoth, but a lot of people were kind of like, maybe like Kugoth isn't in fantasy anymore though because of AOS. So like maybe they're gonna use Radagast, and I was like, please God, no Radagast. No. But he looks amazing. Yeah. Like I want him as a mini so bad.
Yeah.
Because we don't have anything like that in tabletop.
That's all.
But he looks fantastic. Also, the Nurgle roster is huge. I was not expecting the Tarmogon demons, not even remotely.
At all.
So, like, Nurgle is literally the largest cavalry faction. Because he's got Plague Toad Riders and Plague Drones, or Poxflies. And then he's also got unmounted Poxflies and unmounted Plague Toads. So he's just got, like, all the creatures. The Nurgle roster is, like, all over the place in a good way. Also, like, I think the Exalted Plague Bearers are probably my favorite of the new Exalted Demons because they're actually distinctly different from the regular Plague Bearers in that they have death heads.
Yeah.
So they've got those shooting attacks before they go into combat, which is incredible. I also love the mechanics for Nurgle. The new building system for Nurgle is fascinating.
Oh yeah.
You build a building and it goes through a cycle of just growth and decay. And as you advance up the tech tree or you upgrade your main building, which is the only building that you pay to upgrade, because the rest of your buildings are free. As far as like after you build them, they just go through the cycle eternally. Your cycles get bigger and longer, and then you can get upgrades through your tech tree and like characters and stuff to shorten the time. And like the way you recruit units is not that you buy units from one of your buildings, it's that as you cycle through, every time you get a new building, because your building evolves or decays, it adds units to a recruitment pool. So Nurgle gets instant recruitment uniquely among the demons, but all of his units come in wounded and they have to heal up, which is similar to is it
Three Kingdoms.
Troy that does that, or Rome?
Three Kingdoms.
Three Kingdoms did that, which a really clever thing to bring that over. I am over the moon with Nurgle. Like I literally think it's a 10 out of 10 perfect interpretation of the faction. Like Tzeentch is also amazing. Khorne is amazing, though obviously we're still waiting on Skarbrand's mechanics. But like, the ability to create your own diseases. It looks so fun. The Plague Cauldron looks so good.
It's always I always tell people like and this was when the speculation started. I was telling people expect Nurgle to be the coolest one because for some reason devs always love Nurgle the most. Like any game that you see based on Warhammer, if it's got anything to do with Nurgle, there's always a little bit more put towards Nurgle.
Well, I will say, in defense of the other characters, Tzeentch is easily the most powerful. Like, Tzeentch is so overpowered as far as like what he's able to do compared to the others. It's hilarious. But I think Nurgle looks great. I will say I am fully on petition. Clan Pestilence needs access to their own plague system like that.
Yeah.
Like, especially because Nurgle's able to create one of the Nurgle or one of the Clan Pestilence plagues. Because the Red Pox was invented by Clan Pestilence, not by Nurgle. But that he has that as one of his recipes. So I really hope Clan Pestilence gets access to a similar mechanic. I wouldn't say the exact same; it should probably be different. But they really gotta go and tweak up Skrulk at some point. I mean, Queek could use some tuning as well.
Yeah.
We all want a trophy head system. Like, we all want the ability to hunt down people, chop off their heads, and customize what heads you put on your trophy rack. Like, come on.
Yeah.
It's right there. It's right there. But, yeah, Cauldron of 1,000 Poxes. Oh, please. I would kill to have that in game.
It would be great.
But anyway, so Nurgle looks great. So now we get to do a little bit of prediction, amazingly. Slaanesh.
Now we get to the most important part, please.
Can we just talk about Nakari's design for a second?
He's gorgeous.
What a masterclass in design.
He is absolutely gorgeous.
Like, I was not at all sure what they were going to do with Nakari, because we had a leaked image from like months ago that showed one of the new Keepers of Secrets, and that they were using the AOS designs, which I was sitting there for the longest time wondering how the hell are they going to do Nakari, because Nakari does have art. Like, Nakari had his artwork shown in 6th edition High Elves, and like kind of the core book, because there's that super famous image of him dueling Anarian the Defender. And then he was also brought into the video game sphere because he's the final raid boss of Warhammer Online Age of Reckoning in the Gay and Veil dungeon. He's literally the most powerful dungeon boss in the entire game. So like, he's existed in these spaces before, but I was genuinely kind of worried they were going to make him just look like the new ones. Like, I was worried they were going to make him into Salaxi Hellbane, or something very similar. But they didn't. Instead, they literally just they just took his old design and were like, all right, here's some new weapons, and like, we're gonna spice you up a little bit. So like, now instead of just having naked legs, you have leggings. But
you need those thigh highs, man.
Yeah, he's still just as kind of horrific as he was in the original art, where he has a much smoother, kind of alien-looking face, and he's got that terrifying gaping maw. And he doesn't have like the super pointy chin. He doesn't have the new ram horns. He has more traditional Slaanesh horns. And he looks incredible. Like, he looks incredible. And the biggest thing for me is they kept his exposed muscles. That blew my mind. Where like, if you go look at the newer Keepers of Secrets, they just have like thigh highs and like covered legs, but they don't have their flesh splitting open. But he did in his original art. His flesh is literally ripping open. And if you go look at his new design, they kept it. So he's got those leggings on, but there are tears where you can see his exposed muscle because his flesh is literally splitting apart because Nakari is a freak and is super into that. And he looks so good.
I was shocked because we knew he was coming at the end of the day, because since we already had such well-known demons, it's like, well, this was the best option, obviously. But I just visually, I was stunned. I remember messaging our rep from Creative Assembly, going, "God damn, this is incredible." I was just saying, like, tell whoever designed Nakari that, like, God damn, and like, that's all I could literally say constantly. It was like, this is an important thing, especially since obviously no proper model and so on, and you never know how everything was going to go, but this was just special.
Yeah, I think it was pretty poetic, actually, having him and Kugoth facing off in the reveal video, because neither of them had tabletop models.
Yeah.
So everyone was really nervous and excited to see what their designs were going to look like, and it was really cool getting to see them both revealed at the same time.
Yeah.
But also, Slaanesh as a faction is looking very good. Like, we've gotten to see a lot of Slaanesh, despite the fact we don't really know what his mechanics and everything are yet.
Yeah.
He looks spectacular.
I mean,
the Demonettes look great. The Fiends turned out really good.
Yeah, the Fiends were fucking awesome. Like, damn.
And their animations look nuts. Their kill animation, which you could see one of the kill animations in the trailer. The new Keepers of Secrets turned out excellent in a video game. I much prefer the new design, and they've got some good variants. I think they've got the variant, it looks like they've got a spear and shield version, and then like a sword and giant claw version or something like that.
I believe so. Yeah.
But obviously we'll get to see more once we have the because we know the Exalted one has the shield because we've seen him in some battle footage in the Nurgle battle video that they did. They did a Nurgle versus Slaanesh battle footage video that's of course on their channel that I believe we both analyzed, and we see the Exalted Keeper of Secrets and it looks really, really good. But the thing that I also found interesting is that it's looking like it's been all but confirmed, I believe, that the cultist of Slaanesh is actually an elf. It's not a human.
Yeah,
which is really interesting.
I got a little bit like, because obviously that's a massive throwback to Sixth, you know, like.
Yeah, well, and it the thing about it is when I initially noticed it, someone in chat pointed it out yesterday when I went and watched the Nurgling video. Initially, I kind of had a knee-jerk like, what? But then when I thought about it, it's like, well, with the Cult of Pleasure being in the game, so Morathi being her end time or her Storm of Chaos version, not her other version, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Honestly.
I would love to see a slight variation of that model given to the Cult of Pleasure to be their Anointed of Slaanesh, which was the Storm of Chaos unique Lord that was only available to the Cult of Pleasure, which is an elf possessed by a demon of Slaanesh. Which, like, Morathi rework, I'd be fine with it. To update Morathi so that she has access to some demons and
maybe some Marauders of Slaanesh.
Yeah, like the thing about Morathi is like if she's gonna have Chaos Corruption, they should change her to Slaanesh Corruption instead of Chaos Corruption.
Yes.
And like go full hog with it.
Yeah.
Go absolutely full hog with it. The only character that I think should be interacting with Chaos Undivided outside of Chaos now is Heinrich Himmler. But everyone else should just be God specific. Yeah, I gotta say that Slaanesh, I like the cultist. I also like they were careful not to give her mutations.
Yeah.
She doesn't have mutations, which is important. It may not seem important, but from a lore standpoint, elves don't mutate very easily.
Yeah.
The only mutated elf we know of is Takala, and Takala took a really long time to get turned into what she is.
Yeah.
And she's also so deep in Slaanesh's butt that it's not even funny.
Yeah, I wouldn't even consider her an elf anymore. Most people just consider her a demonkin at this point. Yeah,
though she's not a demon. I actually was reading about her lately. She doesn't have the demon rule.
Yeah.
And her most recent lore bit specifically states that she's a heavily mutated champion. She is not a demon. But so she's kind of like Valkia in that sense. Valkia is also not technically a demon, though the line is so thin. What are your so we know already, because they revealed it during the diplomacy section when they talked about the demons, that Slaanesh is going to be the only demons faction that can do diplomacy. He's actually going to have the ability to use sweet nothings and gentle caresses to influence other factions, whereas Tzeentch forces people to do what he wants through grimoires, which is an expensive resource that you want to have for your tech and your buildings and a bunch of other shit. Slaanesh is just going to have flat out access to diplomacy. Is there anything else you're kind of expecting or hoping for with Slaanesh?
Everything that I was expecting I got on the first trailer, because obviously we have Marauders on foot, Slaanesh Marauders with Slaanesh armor and Slaanesh mutations, which
Marauders look spectacular.
They look so freaking good, and that was my biggest hope, because I was worried. I know a lot of people are going to get a bit like it's a hot topic, but I was worried that we're going to see just Chaos Warriors in pink or purple.
No, I absolutely agree. I think I almost kind of feel how do I say this? I don't know about you, but I feel very strongly at this point that we can say beyond the just beyond doubt that these are demon factions that have been supplemented with thematic warrior units, and they are not true monogod. Like, I think we're going to see Warriors of Chaos of Khorne, Warriors of Chaos of Nurgle, etc., who are going to have different rosters, different tech trees, different mechanics. Like, they'll have those overarching mechanics, but, like, they're not going to have access to the Great Game mechanic.
Yeah.
They're not going to have access to the Cultist mechanic. But the fact that every single god got a different type of mortal focus, I think, was so clever. Like, Khorne has got heavily armored, unique Warriors of Chaos on foot. In addition to, like, Skull Crushers. Tzeentch got mounted Chaos Warriors. And that's it. Like, Tzeentch got Chaos Knights and then Doom Knights. So he got the mounted Chaos Warriors. Then Nurgle only got what do you call them? Frat boys.
Yeah, wait. Nurgle got nothing unique.
Yeah, Nurgle. Well, that's because Nurgle got the most demons, though. Nurgle got the Tarmacon expansion.
Yeah.
So he's only got Forsaken. He's got Forsaken and Chaos Spawn. That's it. And then Slaanesh gets all the Marauders. Just so many Marauders. Not only were they like, oh yeah, you get your Hellstriders, but you also get mutated spear infantry that got giant spear mutation arms instead of regular spears, and we got whips, which is just awesome.
There's been people, because it's really hard to tell, and obviously, the roster's not out yet, but some of the mutations also look like sword, and someone said that they saw sword.
I was about
mutation.
to say that. I think I saw a sword icon as well.
Yeah.
So I think there's like 5 or 6 different Marauder units for Slaanesh.
I would like that. Like, I'm fine with just 3. You know, spears, Hell Scourges, and sword on foot, and then obviously on mounts you'd get the spears and the Hell Scourges. But like, damn.
Yeah.
Like,
So that's. I mean, so at minimum we have 5.
Yeah. Like that's freaking great.
Yeah. So, or sorry, at minimum we have 4, but it looks like we have 5.
Yeah.
With like a basic hand weapon version. And that's such a good way to supplement Slaanesh's roster.
Yeah.
Of like having the Marauders be more of kind of like your expendable infantry, but also bringing in a lot of the anti-large. And allowing a lot of the Slaanesh units to be really heavy AP, really specialized. But like I'm really happy with what I'm seeing with Slaanesh, especially because the Marauders have unique designs.
Yeah.
Like they're like the Khornate Warriors. Like the only unit that I've seen that I'm like I really hope they spice them up a little bit are the Doom Knights and the Tzeentch Chaos Knights, because I think the only thing they don't have is like they've got they're more like the regular Chosen that have been painted Tzeentch colors, as opposed to truly like they don't have a lot of like Tzeentch iconography and stuff.
Yeah.
Which is the only unit I hope they update.
It shouldn't be too difficult, and like I hope they will listen to the community for that, because aesthetic, especially when you're playing a Chaos faction, is kind of important, you know?
Yeah, and someone in chat did point out that like probably what happened was that like they made the Skull Crushers, and then they just took the rider from the Skull Crushers and put them on foot and gave them different weapons.
Yeah, it's the same armor.
And then they made the Hellstriders and took the Hellstrider, put them on foot, and gave them different weapons. So that's why they look the way they do. But like with Tzeentch, like even though they didn't make a new Tzeentch unit, like the Doom Knights arguably should have had a brand new design.
Yeah.
If that's the argument, which like that's a reasonable argument. But I like the Doom Knights should have been designed to just be a completely new Tzeentch design, since they're only available to Tzeentch.
Yeah.
It's not like the other factions are going to have Doom Knights.
Yeah.
So the fact that they decided to just put Chaos Knights or Chosen on top of them instead of making a new design, that's where they goofed up, and they need to fix it.
Yeah. I mean, it's and this is something I had a long conversation with my subscribers and so on. It's like, because a lot of people are saying, oh yeah, they're half-assing stuff, and I was telling them, look, fair enough, you believe that, but there's a lot of work getting into this. Like, for example, look at the Soul Grinder of Nurgle. It's 100% a new model.
Yeah, all the Soul Grinders are totally unique.
Yeah.
We've seen all 4 of them. Completely unique designs.
But the Khorne, Tzeentch, and Slaanesh ones are, like, very similar. It's the same frame, right? They have similar body types. Yeah. Whereas
different weapons, though.
Yeah, different weapons. But the Nurgle one is, like, he's a big boy, man. Like, this guy ate a lot of kebabs.
Yeah. But, like, no, I agree. Like, the Soul Grinders could have easily just been copy pasted. But like every single one has a completely different weapon output. Like Tzeentch literally's got like giant crab claw and then a glowy hand that summons magical spears with unique animations. Khorne's got a giant fuck you sword and a big crab claw. And also I think he can breathe fire or something. And then the Nurgle one's got the bile spewer and then some kind of little weapon. And then the Slaanesh one, I saw him. I forgot what he has, but he has the last weapon set, which I forget what it is.
I think he's just got claws, doesn't he?
He might just have claws, but he has something different than the other 3. I forget what his weapon is. But they look great. They all look very nice.
Yeah, it does. You can
Slaanesh
tell.
has double claws. Okay, yeah. Which, Slaanesh makes sense.
Yeah,
Slaanesh likes his claws.
It will be presumably very, very fast, so it can go in and just do as much damage as possible. And I could just see you doing the Zoidberg thing.
Yeah. Like, I love that Slaanesh is literally just, like, if you really like doing crap stuff, like, Slaanesh is the faction for you.
Yeah.
You're just running across the field, just like... But, Khorne's had some shooting. Oh, yeah, I think you're right. I think... Maybe he didn't have a crab claw. Maybe he had like the flamethrower instead. But because you're right, he has a shooting attack. But anyway, so yeah, Total War 3 is looking really strong, and we still have a mystery legendary lord who is pretty obviously Be'lakor, unless they pull a Gorst on us.
It's a halfling, isn't it?
Super crazy.
It's a halfling. It's Esme.
Yeah. Like, have you seen, dude? The joke that keeps making me nervous is, have you seen all the people making a joke that it's like Thankful, like it's something a Skaven character, it's the 9th character. Like, oh god, that would be so bad. That would be so like, I would love that character. But having them in as a base race character would be so obnoxious. It would be.
I honestly want to think that he's going to be like a White Dwarf Lord instead, because.
Oh yeah, it's Joseph Buckman. What? Or like Harry the Hammer, or some like super weird, like just like Hail Mary character. Yeah, I'm really hoping for Be'lakor, and I am super hoping he is Undivided Demons. Like, there's got to be one. Like, they're like, hey, the game's based on 8th edition. It's like, okay, well, where's my 8th edition demons?
It's actually been hinted at. Funny enough, let me just get the video up from Total War. If you look at the gameplay stuff, like you'll see Exalted Bloodthirster brackets Khorne.
Ooh, that's a good pick. I didn't even I haven't noticed that.
Well, I didn't realize that. It's someone from my Discord community that told me. I was like, shit, he's right. Like that's big.
Because my thinking was that like, oh, maybe Be'lakor will like have access to the combined demons, no mortals. Like he doesn't get any knights, he doesn't get any skull crushers. He's just demons. But maybe instead of the exalted demons as his lords, he has like demon princes as his lord, where he's got like the demon prince of Nurgle, Khorne, Tzeentch, and Slaanesh as his 4 lord types. But if they just gave him like all the demons, I would not be upset. I'm gonna be honest. And maybe just have the demon princes with the mono warriors as like their big guys. But
what was it? Ogres versus Khorne, where it's not Skarbrand. I just want to show that off. I think it's Ogres versus Khorne.
Let's see.
Because I am so sure it was one of these battles, and it threw me off when they told me. The problem is, obviously, then you have to go through the whole battle.
Yeah, you have to like find the clip where somebody mouses over it. Okay, there's Scrag. Let's see. Saber Tusk Pack.
Oh.
Anybody have a timestamp?
Someone must.
We'll have to check that out afterwards.
Yeah, but I'm certainly sure because someone told me. And I was like, "Ooh, that is curious," you know, because obviously you don't really expect that at all, do you?
No. I mean, I would be super happy with it. I mean, because like the big thing with Be'lakor would just be that like having no mortals. I guess I wonder if he would. I guess he would not have cultists either, because he would be undivided corruption, not god specific. So I wonder how that's gonna work. Like, or if he would just have an undivided cultist, I guess. But it's gonna be really interesting to see what happens. It's gonna be very interesting to see what happens with Be'lakor. Because like the one thing somebody said that I was like, oh please no, is they were like, oh, what if he's just like undivided warriors and has undivided demons? It's like, you know how many undivided demons there are? There's like 2.
Yeah.
That's it. It's like Chaos Furies and
Soul Grinder.
No, the Soul Grinder has to have a mark.
No. You can get one in the army. I'm pretty sure you can get one without a mark.
I don't think so. Hold on, I got my book right here.
You got it there because I have no idea what mine is.
Let's see. Soul Grinder. What's your rare unit? Yeah. Soul Grinder must be upgraded to one of the following: Khorne, Siege, Nurgle, Slaanesh.
Oh,
Can't have it undivided.
Oh, and what's the other undivided demon?
Let's see. It's Furies. I think that's it.
Demon Princes, I guess you can get one undivided.
No, Be'lakor is the only one.
Unless they change the law, because they might, no?
Well, if it's back in 6th edition, you could have undivided demons, but in 7th and 8th, they made it where you have to have. They changed the lore to say Bellacor's the only one because the Dark Gods were like, let's never do that again because he betrayed all of them. See, I'm just kind of like looking here real quick. Demon Prince, yeah, must be one of the following.
Must be, all right.
I might be thinking of Chaos Spawn because Chaos Spawn can take marks, but they don't have to because obviously we've seen them. But you know, they're not true demons.
If he ends up with fucking Chaos Spawn, we would have had 7 factions with that fucking or more, isn't it?
See, all 4 demons,
Chaos
warriors, beastmen. Yeah, and then Be'lakor.
Fuck my
that
life.
would be really funny.
Wait, does Norska have them too?
Does Norka have Chaos Spawn? I don't know. I think they do.
It's a very,
sure they do.
Very popular unit, isn't it?
Yeah, it was really, really funny, to be honest. Like, literally the most popular unit in the game. Like, I think we would have more Chaos Spawn than Giants at that point. And there are a lot of Giants.
Oh shit, yeah, you're right! Fuck!
But, yeah, like, no, Norska does not have them. Okay, never
mind. Alright, okay.
Someone said Exalted Chaos Spawn. Oh man, that would be hilarious. Like, they're not demons, so that is like heresy of the highest level. But that would be really funny.
Oh, just give them wings.
Yeah. Dude, flying Chaos Bomb would actually be kind of hype. I'm not gonna lie. Like the reason everybody makes fun of them is because it's like just the same thing. But like if there was like a super distinct version, I would not be upset. I mean, they could always bring out the giant Chaos Spawn from the Monstrous Arcanum.
Oh,
Magic.
Yes.
There's the giant Spine Beast or whatever it's called.
There were 2, weren't there? There was the giant Chaos Spawn and the Spined Beast.
Yeah, because they had like different rule sets.
Yeah.
But yeah, so good times. A lot of things are looking really solid, really good, really happy.
Yeah.
I think that's real briefly because I think we're good on that unless there's anything else you want to add. But like, I'm excited for Slaanesh. I hope he has like really hardcore diplomacy manipulation. And we already know that Nurgle fills up his battle meter by the amount of damage he takes. I think it is. So I'm curious what Slaanesh's meter is going to be.
Oh,
I have to ask. What What do you think Slaanesh's unique resource is going to be?
Phew, I don't know.
So we have skulls, grimoires, and what the hell is Nurgle's thing?
Pox, isn't it?
Yeah, poxes.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I think it's poxes.
Infections. Thank you.
Infections.
Infections. So, what do you think Slaanesh is going to be?
Ooh, I don't know, man. Infections could also work for Slaanesh. That's the issue. I don't know. Kind of like souls, maybe.
I'm thinking. It's either going to be torments or perversions.
I'm good with both.
Oh, somebody in chat said secrets. Yeah, I could see that.
Secrets
could be good. Sins.
Just fire highs. Just go around the map collecting fire highs.
Aphrodisiacs. This is not
oysters. Oysters.
This is not a Japanese-made game. We don't use that word here.
The secret sounds cool. Secret souls, something like that sounds interesting.
Yeah. It looks really. I'm really excited for Slaanesh. We should be getting Slaanesh, I think, hopefully this week.
If we don't, I'm gonna fucking cry. If we don't, I'm gonna...
someone said obsessions. That could be good too.
Ooh, that sounds cool. I like that.
But we'll have to see. In any event, that's going to be it for Total War Warhammer stuff. We'll talk more about like our theory crafting with like Be'lakor and all of his stuff after the Slaanesh reveal, because Be'lakor will be somewhere in that ballpark.
Mm-hmm.
But real quick, is there anything that's happened in other spheres as far as like tabletop or video, like anything other Warhammer related that has caught your attention since we last talked? It's been a month.
We keep getting little videos dropped for that Grey Knights game, you know?
It looks like a good game.
It looks really fucking fun, man.
Demon Hunter looks really... Is it Demon Hunter?
Demon Hunters,
yeah. Yeah, it looks very, very good.
Yeah, I mean, destructible terrain and stuff like that. And it's a good dev. I've checked out their previous stuff. So I'm like, oh, wow, we're actually going to get knock on wood, a good 40k game. Which is just so desperately needed at this point. Like, holy crap, someone, please. One good game.
It does look like a lot of fun. I have high hopes for it. Hopefully it'll do well. And, obviously we're still waiting for an a release date on Dark Tide. But that's still a little ways off. And, they haven't really even revealed a lot about the game yet. After that, I don't really think there's anything else super important on the horizon. But in AOS, we do have the Chibi AOS game coming out in the future, which I am absolutely going to try. It looks so amazing in just the worst way. I have to try it.
That was announced during Skulls, wasn't it? That was announced during Warhammer Skulls, wasn't it?
Which I nearly died during that reveal.
I think everyone that was watching me said that they saw the life just die out from my eyes as soon as I saw that. It's like, why?
Yeah, I practically was like crying. I was laughing so hard. I was in trouble. But because it was just so random.
Oh, but, there's some other news. Fucking Mechanicus, not Mechanicus. God, wait, let me just remember it because I'm dead today. I'm still dealing with this tooth pain, and I'm just...
No, you're no, the Orc game, Shootas and something looks really good.
Yeah, it does. What was that game? Oh, God, I'm just having...
Someone in chat is saying maybe you mean Martyr?
No. I've got my Warhammer games. There's a lot of freaking... Warhammer games. Gladius just released the Adeptus Mechanicus DLC, and that's actually quite fun.
I need to play Gladius. It's on my to-do list.
They've brought a lot of life into the game because of it. The devs are really good at what they do, honestly.
Yeah, Gladius seems to have a good dev studio. They're really good about reaching out and being very communicative and stuff. But other things outside of that, in tabletop, I have to I don't know if I've had a chance to talk about it on Lorebeards. I don't think I have. But we finally got the Blood Bowl Croxigor model revealed, and it's glorious. It is so awesome. And it's a very, I honestly considered it a very clever hybridization of the classic Croxigor and the Blood Bowl 2 Croxigor and the Total War Croxigor. It's not either of their designs, it's a new design that kind of takes nods from both of them, and it looks absolutely spectacular. I fully intend to get like at least 3 of them and have them kit bashed for Age of Sigmar. It's a very easy Google for anyone that wants to see it. You can just literally go in and type Blood Bowl Croxigor tabletop, and it's like right there. But it's a sexy model. Also, it is nearly Christmas. For anyone that is maybe new to tabletop or is looking to expand their ranges, Games Workshop has released a bunch of Christmas sets. How good they are kind of depends on the faction, and we're really not with the time today to just sit down and break them all down. But kind of the general rule of thumb is that they are good value. They're extremely good value. I will note, if you go to their website, do not waste your time worrying about their so-called limited boxes, which they like combine a couple little things together, because those aren't discounted. They're literally the exact same price as the broken up models. So don't buy those. They're a waste of money. I don't know why they thought, like, I guess they're just trying to like trick people, because the idea that it's limited but it's literally not, because you could just buy those models separately, is really weird. The big thing you want, though, are the Christmas sets, which I think are called battle boxes.
Yes.
But yeah, the Christmas sets, if you're looking to get into any of those armies, they are very, very exceptional boxes that they tend to range from like, they're like 60 to 75% instead of 100% price or something like that.
Yeah.
And some of them are really good. Like the Soulblight Gravelords box is really good. I mean, it comes with Blood Knights, which are very expensive and also can be very hard to find. And there's some pretty good 40k boxes too, for anyone that's into 40k. But I think that's pretty much us wrapped for today. I don't think there's anything else super important. We'll have a little bit more leisure time next week to talk about some other stuff. But that's pretty much going to be it. Any closing thoughts or anything you want to throw down real quick?
No. I'm just thinking as when I can take my some more painkillers for my tooth.
Yeah, man. I hope you're able to get that taken care of soon. It sucks.
After next week, unfortunately, because since I'm singing next week, I have to. I can't afford to be cut up.
Yeah, I remember I was fairly young when they like detected my wisdom teeth, and I got a surgery to get all. I had 4, and I had to get them all taken out.
Ouch.
I don't remember it that much because it was when I was in like middle school or something. But I'm glad they got. I'm glad they're gone. but real quick, someone asked, what are our thoughts on Games Workshop statement about 40k being satire? I think it was a good statement. Like, obviously GW's dealing with some shit in the 40k community, and they're trying their hard. Well, they're trying, which is more than a lot of companies would. Yeah. And I wish them the best of luck on it. It's a fairly 40k specific issue. Yeah. So I don't have a lot of opinions on it, but I do like that they flat out told people, like, if you think the Imperium is something to aspire to, like, we literally don't want your money. We don't want Nazis in our stores. Please leave.
My only thought is, guys, we collect toys. It's a game. We play with toys.
You can find a lot of articles on it, and a lot of Twitter threads on it. Like, we're not going to get super into it because it's been covered to death. Yeah. But
plus, it's literally toys.
Yeah. Nathan, anything you got coming up next week or this week that you want people to know about?
Not as far as I'm aware. I've got some videos to plan out and so on, but like I'm literally running. Like, as soon as we finish this live stream, I'm going up to rehearsals because we don't have a lot of time.
I hope the concert goes great, dude.
Thank you.
And same thing pretty much for me here. I'm gonna jazz after this to go take care of some stuff. obviously we'll be covering any news that comes out this week for Total War, so stay tuned to our channels for that. And thank you all for watching. Once again, this has been LoremasterOfSotek and Great Book Grudges, also Ryan and Nathan, whatever. And we will see you guys in the future. Thanks so much for watching.
See ya, everyone.
All right, see you, dude.
See ya, dude. Right, guys, let's just have a little... let's throw a host to someone, and then I've got to go because I have to go to rehearsal. Like, our drummer has has proven that he does not know the songs, and we have like 5 days. So let me just find someone to host. Who's playing Warhammer 2? Someone must be playing Warhammer 2. Sorry, it's just important to give a bit of love to people. There we go. Look, let's throw some love to Mercy. He's playing Tournament Rules Eltharion campaign. Oh, that sounds pretty fun. That sounds pretty fun. So we're gonna give him a bit of love. It's over there in the chat now. You guys have a lovely day. I'll keep you informed with any news if it comes out and so on. And as always, thank you so much for popping by. This was obviously quite a special day, and you know we've not been doing this for a while, so it was always cool. So thank you guys. Have a great day. Have a great rest of your weekend. I'm off to scream on a microphone for a few hours, so I'll see you all soon.